Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is my monthly ranking for March 2020. Every month here on the channel, I rank all the new releases that come out in theaters and original films brand new to streaming that I see. And, well, this month was wild. So I did get to see quite a few of the new releases in theaters before all of the theater chains shut down. And then Netflix and Hulu both had some new releases come out. Netflix particularly had quite a few March releases. So in total, I saw 11 new release films for the month of March, about half of which were on streaming. The other half I did get to see in theaters. So just a disclaimer, I had to have seen the movie to include it in my ranking. Obviously, if I didn't watch it, then it's not going to be here. Also, this is just my personal opinion, and I can't wait to hear your ranking in the comment section down below. Let's talk about some film. So not only are you getting a ranking today, but some quick reviews for all of those streaming films that I did not actually make a video review for here on the channel. But just a quick note, if you want reviews for all the streaming films I see, as well as any other movies I watch after opening weekend, make sure to follow me on Letterboxd. I log all of my films over there, including these streaming films, so you'll get to see an out of 5 ranking or so, and stay up to date with all of my reviews. Without further ado, let's go ahead and kick things off. Coming in at number 11, aka Dead Last, I have Spencer Confidential. Oh, Peter Berg, what is going on? For well over half a decade at this point, Peter Berg has pretty much exclusively worked with Mark Wahlberg as the lead in his films, and yet again, for this Netflix original, we have the team back again, this time with Winston Duke and Alan Arkin, oh yeah, and Post Malone, for some sort of detective thriller action film. Basically, Peter Berg made a Michael Bay light movie, a Michael Bay wannabe. That's exactly what this was. The dialogue was absolutely terrible. The performances were all bad. Winston Duke, why was he even in this? I mean, it was just a nothing role. Alan Arkin, you tried to add your zest, but wow, you're better than roles like this. And then Mark Wahlberg, I mean, the script was terrible. The action was bland, poorly shot, and it was just nothing. Coming in at number 10, I have Bloodshot. Well, much like Mark Wahlberg and Spencer Confidential, basically doing the same thing he always does, here's Vin Diesel doing the same thing he always does in Bloodshot. This time, trying to kick off a superhero franchise to no avail. The biggest sin of Bloodshot was that it was just so painfully boring. You're gonna make a schlocky B-level action movie, make it fun at least, and this movie just had no fun to be had. Vin Diesel was sleepwalking through this role. The twist was revealed in the trailers. The action was okay at times. Some of the special effects looked cool until we get to that third act, and then the action and special effects were just horrendous. The dialogue in this movie was awful. Just horrible. The direction was a mess, and there were no characters to like or care about. So, yeah, a boring, B-level, poorly executed mess. Coming in at number 9, I have Big Time Adolescents. I know, a controversial opinion, I'm sure. It actually took, like, everything I had to get myself to watch Big Time Adolescents, because these movies just, they're not for me. This subgenre of super bro type of coming of age movies, they're not for me. I know so many of you love them and they get great reviews, but time and time again, whether it be mid-90s or Good Boys, whatever the case might be, even Superbad, I hate to say it, but this subgenre of coming of age films doesn't resonate with me. I don't connect with these characters. I actually find them rather grating and annoying. Big Time Adolescents looked like that kind of film, and it was exactly what I thought it would be. Pete Davidson's character is absolutely terrible. Completely and totally grating, morally bankrupt, horrible person. Like, from start to finish. There's not even a good progression there. And honestly, watching this movie just made me uncomfortable and just sad. Not really for Pete Davidson's character, but watching him and these other adults ruining this kid's life. And it didn't really provide good insight. It didn't really go deeper for me. It just really angered me and made me sad. And then that was exasperated when we literally had a grown woman get a teenager drunk or tipsy at the very least and molest him, basically. We're going to call it what it is. It's not sex. He was underage and was given alcohol, and then a grown woman slept with him, which is molestation, period. And it was treated so casually that I couldn't. That was like the final nail in the coffin. I chuckled a time or two, but it couldn't overcome the many problems I had with the film at large. I didn't enjoy spending time with any of these characters. I tried to grasp onto any of that female energy we got just pop up every now and then and give me a little bit of reprieve, but overall, it's not for me. Coming in at number 8, I have The Platform. This actually was a winner in the indie circuit last year, got quite the accolades, and was released onto Netflix here in March of 2020. Now, this is actually a Spanish language film that is just dubbed on Netflix, and it's a little bit jarring because the dub is really close to the mouthing of the words. So it threw me a little bit at first. You can see from the credits it's supposed to be a Spanish language film, but the dub and the mouths are so close so often that I was like, are they speaking English? I don't know. No, they're not. No, I really enjoy aspects to The Platform. I like the message that it's saying. I like this allegory for social inequality, and it works in many ways on that level as a visual and literal representation of human inequality. I also think the idea of this platform coming down is a strong idea, and getting to go into the human psyche as we work our way through the different levels of poverty, basically, is also really interesting. However, I also find the allegory quite a bit obvious and in your face. It's a very on the nose metaphor, if you will, for me. And in many ways, it failed to go too much deeper than that for me. And I have to admit, I just found the film to be nasty. It was hard for me to watch just from like a palette choice. It is gross and grotesque, and that's clearly what they're going for, but it turned me off and made the viewing experience so unappealing that I struggled to get through the first 10 minutes. And then we had women literally taking a crap on a man's head. Like, there is some crazy stuff that happened in here that was too much. It was just gross for gross sake, and I don't vibe with that. Plus, the ending I really didn't like. Again, it was so on the nose with what it was saying, but logically within the realm of what was happening, it was stupid. And it was just kind of ridiculous. So the platform succeeded a little bit in what it was going for, but as a viewing experience and as a film, it just didn't get there for me. Coming in at number 7, I have I Still Believe. I Still Believe was an okay Christian romance film based on the actual life of a Christian singer. KJ Apa and Britt Robinson actually give really solid performances. I think they have a nice chemistry that holds the movie together as best it can. However, it feels so cliched in so many different ways, with all of this story being stretched out throughout this film. We bullet point our way through so many big events, yet we focus on really minuscule, stupid moments and details that I found myself starting to get bored and wondering, how long is this movie anyway? The music is fine, and KJ Apa does a decent enough job there. The script just isn't tight enough. It isn't strong enough to uphold the actual true story, to deliver the goods and really hit home with an emotional punch that it's going for. Coming in at number 6, I have The Hunt. The social satire that shook the world to its core last year, getting pushed back to, well, probably the worst release date it could have chosen in 2020. Oof. So the hunt works on a surface level for me. Just kind of looking at it as an adult Hunger Games is fun, and there are certainly fun moments, particularly that final action set piece was by far my favorite moment of the entire film. There's also a bit at the beginning that's funny, and like this gas station is a cool kind of concept. However, the script lets this one down hard. Also, Hilary Swank, great in the little bit of screen time she has. Betty Gilpin is also fine. She delivers a really outrageous performance, but is fully committed to it. But it's the script here that completely just lets this film down. First of all, the twist and the explanations we're given are just so ridiculous that you're like, what in the world? Okay. But also, it just is so on the nose. It is not nearly as smart as it thinks it is, and it's not nearly as smart as it should be. Yes, it is taking shots at both sides of the political aisle, and actually kind of just taking shots at the political landscape and commentary in general. But my God, it just doesn't know how to delve into any of that. It doesn't know how to give us a smart commentary on any of it. Instead, it gives us the most obvious, basic, boring stereotypes you could imagine of liberals, of Republicans, of Trumpers. It's just like, oh gosh, could we have gotten some better insight here? So not smart enough to warrant all the controversy it had, but taken as just kind of a general action comedy, it's serviceable enough. At number 5, I have Uncorked. So this is another Netflix original focusing on a young man who is set to take over his family's barbecue business, but really has an interest in becoming a wine expert. And I actually enjoyed this quite a bit. This was one of the funniest films I've watched this year. In particular, that first act of this movie is really fun. When we spend time with his family, it feels organic, it feels real. Banter and the camaraderie amongst them all was fun and funny, and it was just a good time. Plus, we have some really strong performances from Courtney B. Vance and Niecy Nash as the parents here, who are wonderful. I also really enjoy how the story progresses when it comes to family expectations versus your own hopes and dreams and interests, and how both sides kind of learn to deal with that and grow with that. However, I think the film goes a little bit wayward as we move through. First of all, our main character just can't catch a break. I mean, it goes beyond just a person of color coming from a self-made, hard-working, blue-collar background, which already provides plenty of real-life obstacle for him to overcome. Instead, though, I mean, they throw illness, they throw family issues, they throw random girlfriend, like they throw everything they can think of at this man. And it's like, oh my gosh, can we catch a break? Just period. Which again is something nice to showcase for a person of color trying to break into a predominantly white arena, but I just wish it was done more organically and we didn't have all of these melodramas. In addition, sometimes I think it gets too focused on the finer details of wine and the wine classes and courses where I started to kind of wander. I'm like, okay, a little inside baseball about how expert you have to be about wine. I don't know, if you're super into being a wine connoisseur yourself, you'll probably enjoy that a lot more. But for me, it was a little bit boring. Plus, there's this friend character in here who's super annoying and gets a really unrealistic ending to the story that I was like, oh my gosh, why did we have to keep him in? But so it's a fun, serviceable dramedy on Netflix that I think you should definitely check out if you're self-quarantining right now, which you should be. Coming in at number 4, I have Lost Girls, which follows a real-life investigation of a serial killer who is killing sex workers. And oh my gosh, I actually was not quite prepared for how heavy this film was going to be, and it ends heavy, which is probably my biggest positive, is that we are left to just have a real life end. It feels so authentic in so many ways and how it unfolds, and then it just sticks with that through and through to the end, and I really appreciated that. I also think the screenplay and the script was quite solid. The dialogue between characters felt organic, even as we worked our way through more melodramatic moments. Amy Ryan as our lead here is wonderful. She gives a very realistic performance. And it's just kind of an eye-opening, harrowing film, if you will. Unfortunately, it's not elevated much above that. It definitely feels like a made-for-streaming film. It doesn't have a great cinematic quality to it, if you will. It unfolds very procedural as well. But overall, it's a solid effort. It's definitely worth the watch on Netflix once you're in the right headspace. Coming in at number 3, I have The Way Back. So the biggest positive here, Ben Affleck, and Ben Affleck, who gives one of the best performances of his entire career. I thought he was fantastic in this movie. He pretty much carries this entire film. And there's a lot to be said about the subject matter, particularly grieving and trying to work your way through the grieving process. All of our side characters actually give great performances as well, including the children who play the high school basketball kids. And as a sports movie, I actually think it's a lot of fun. It's not cliched. It executes the formula very well as we work our way through those games. There's a lot of funny moments too, as we have that dynamic there. However, my problem with The Way Back actually comes in with the script. This movie tries to take on way too many storylines and then drops them for big portions of the movie. Particularly, alcoholism is a big running theme that we don't address, we don't really talk about, we don't get to see him trying to work through for a good 30-minute chunk in this movie, which felt kind of crazy to me. But we have this past with a child, we have the alcoholism, we have this high school who's trying to get better, all mushed into this one thing. Add on top of that, this relationship drama. It was a lot. And unfortunately, most of those aren't able to get the attention that they deserved because the story just ran them all so thin. Coming in at number 2, I have Emma. This Jane Austen adaptation was such a fun delight. Oh, a comedic period piece, I'm in. Anya Taylor-Joy is absolutely wonderful in this movie as Emma, as is Miranda Hart, who gives one of the best supporting performances we've seen this year. What an earnest, funny, yet sweet performance from her. But our entire cast is absolutely wonderful. Script is a beautiful adaptation of the Jane Austen source material that provides all of the keynotes but gives us a nice little flair to it all. Wonderful sass, the great laughs, the beautiful romance, all of it is there in spades. Plus the gorgeous costumes and the wonderful set designs galore that you hope for from any good period piece. Really, I don't know what's not to love when it comes to Emma. If period pieces are your thing, I think you're really going to love this one. And then finally, coming in at my number 1 spot, I have Onward. I know a lot of folks out there think this is bottom tier Pixar and not so great, underwhelming, blah, 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 blah. Not here. That's not me. I loved Onward. First of all, it's Pixar. The animation is absolutely stunning. It is wonderful. And I actually saw this film multiple times already this month, and each time I just appreciated how beautiful the animation was more and more. Tom Holland and Chris Pratt both give really fantastic vocal performances and have a wonderful chemistry with each other, as does Octavia Spencer, particularly. I loved her in this movie. But this is coming from an only child who doesn't have siblings. I really connected with these characters, particularly Ian. I really grasped on to their relationship and their desire to spend time with their father. And it goes there. It gets that nice emotional gut punch going by the end of the film for you. Plus, it's really funny. The adventure is so much fun. I'm a sucker for fantasy, and it delivers on so many beautiful, fantastical moments. I don't know. I was captivated by it. I think it's a beautiful film with beautiful messages and even more gorgeous animation. So, Onward was my favorite film for March 2020. So that's it. That is my personal ranking for all of the new releases I saw in March 2020. I know we're all going through crazy times right now. Hopefully you're able to catch up as many of these films either debuted on streaming as originals for Netflix and Hulu or have already made their way onto streaming based on the pandemic that has happened. They were released early for video on demand. Let me know, what films did you see in March and how would you rank those films you saw? Leave your rankings in the comment section down below, or of course you can hit me up on Twitter. If you like this video, hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on my latest videos. I love you all so much for your continued support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!